Our past lives hold secrets, deep, dark secrets. These secrets whisper to us from the shadows. They long to be revealed. As a medium, I've spoken to countless souls. They carry the echoes of their past lives. Some are beautiful and filled with love. Others are shrouded in darkness. These past lives shape who we are. They influence our present. We are drawn to certain people. We experience inexplicable fears. These are often remnants of our past lives. Past life regression can unlock these mysteries. It's a journey into the depths of our souls. Past life regression is a process. It allows us to access our subconscious mind. It's a form of hypnosis. A trained therapist guides you back through time. You can then revisit your past lives. During a session, you are fully aware. You are in control. You can stop the regression at any time. It's important to find a qualified professional, someone you trust to guide you through this journey. The experience can be overwhelming. I was ready to meet my past self. I felt a shift in energy. It was subtle, but noticeable. I was no longer lying on the couch in the therapist's office. I was somewhere else. I could feel the weight of a heavy dress. It was made of rough fabric. The air was thick with the scent of wood smoke and something else. It was unfamiliar and unpleasant. I opened my eyes. The world around me was blurry at first. As my vision cleared, I gasped in shock. I was in a small, dimly lit hut. The walls were made of mud and straw. There was a fire burning in the center of the room. Fear gripped my heart. Who was this woman? Why was I in this strange place? I tried to speak, but no words came out. My throat felt tight, like I had swallowed dust. I looked down at my hands. They were rough and calloused. They were not my hands. I stumbled back from the woman and the fire, my mind reeling. The room seemed to spin. I bumped into a rough-hewn table, my hand gripping the edge for support. As I steadied myself, I caught a glimpse of my reflection in a tarnished piece of metal hanging on the wall. It wasn't me. Or rather, it wasn't the face I knew as my own. Staring back at me was a young woman with wide, fearful eyes and tangled, dirt-streaked hair. This was a life lived long ago, a life I had no memory of. The old woman's touch was surprisingly gentle. Her hand felt warm against my skin, a stark contrast to the cold fear that gripped me. As I met her gaze, I felt a strange sense of recognition, a feeling of familiarity that transcended time and place. Her voice, though still foreign to my ears, seemed to seep into my very being, like a forgotten melody slowly resurfacing in my mind. It was as if a part of me, buried deep within, understood her words, felt the weight of their meaning. She spoke of a harsh and unforgiving land, a place where survival was a daily struggle. The memories came in a rush, a torrent of emotions and sensations that threatened to overwhelm me. I saw the girl grow, her youthful innocence slowly giving way to the realities of life in this harsh and unforgiving land. I felt the weight of responsibility settle upon her young shoulders, the burden of tradition and expectation. And then, a darkness began to creep into the edges of my memories. Whispers of fear and suspicion, of strange rituals and forbidden knowledge. The air grew heavy with a sense of foreboding, like the stillness before a storm. The old woman's grip on my hand tightened, her eyes filled with a mixture of sadness and resignation. The old woman's voice became a mournful chant, a lament for a time gone by. Her words painted a picture of a community gripped by fear, their once strong bonds shattered by suspicion and mistrust. The sickness that ravaged their village was unlike anything they had ever seen. It twisted the bodies and minds of its victims, leaving behind only a shell of their former selves. Fear, like a venomous serpent, coiled around the hearts of the villagers. They sought an explanation for the plague that had befallen them, someone or something to blame. The memory of the trial was a whirlwind of fear and confusion. I felt the heat of the flames as they built a pyre in the center of the village. I saw the fear in the eyes of the villagers, but also a strange sense of excitement, a morbid fascination with the spectacle unfolding before them. They dragged her, the young woman who was me, before the crowd. Her arms were bound, her face pale and streaked with tears. She protested her innocence, but her words were lost in the roar of the crowd. They had already passed judgment. Their fear had blinded them to reason. The village elder, his face etched with a lifetime of hardship, presided over the trial. He was a man of tradition, bound by ancient laws and rituals. The flames roared around me, a living inferno that threatened to devour me whole. I could feel the heat scorching my skin, the smoke choking my lungs. Terror, raw and primal, surged through me, threatening to consume me entirely. Yet, amidst the agony, another sensation arose. A strange detachment, as if I were observing the scene from a distance. I watched as the villagers, their faces illuminated by the firelight, chanted words of hatred and fear. Their eyes, once filled with kindness and warmth, now burned with a chilling fanaticism. In that moment, I understood the true horror of my past life. The physical pain of the flames faded, replaced by an all-encompassing numbness. As the fire consumed my body, I felt a strange sense of release, a letting go of the fear and anguish that had haunted this life for far too long. But even in death, there was no escape. My spirit lingered, bound to the memory of that horrific day. I watched as the villagers, their frenzy spent, dispersed into the night, their faces etched with a mixture of guilt and relief. The image of the charred remains of my past self, a stark reminder of the darkness that had consumed their village, remained seared into my memory. The flames consumed everything, my body, my past life, my very being. I was lost in a void of nothingness. It was cold and empty. It was terrifying. Then, a glimmer of light appeared in the distance. It was faint at first, like a distant star, but it grew stronger. I was drawn to it. As I moved closer, the light took on a familiar form. It was the old woman from my past life. Her face was etched with worry, but her eyes held a glimmer of hope. I was confused. Between lives? I repeated. What does that mean? The old woman's image shimmered slightly, as if a gentle breeze threatened to extinguish her light. It means your journey is not yet over, she said. You have much to learn, much to remember. Remember? I felt a surge of anxiety. The memories of my past life, of the fire, of the accusations and the pain were still fresh, still raw. I don't want to remember, I whispered, my voice trembling. It hurts too much. A reason? I echoed, my mind struggling to grasp the enormity of her words. The old woman nodded slowly. You carry a gift, child, she said. A gift that was both your blessing and your curse in that life. What gift? I asked, my curiosity piqued despite my fear. The old woman's form grew brighter, her light casting away the shadows that clung to the edges of my awareness. The gift of sight, she said, her voice filled with a newfound power, the ability to see beyond the veil, to heal the sick and ease the suffering of others. But it was that very gift that they condemned you for, I said, the memory of the accusations, the trial, the flames, rising up to choke me. The old woman placed her hand over mine, her touch sending a wave of warmth and comfort through my being. A promise? I repeated, the word catching in my throat. The old woman nodded, her eyes shining with a love that transcended lifetimes. A promise to use your gift wisely, to heal the wounds of the past, and to build a future free from fear and ignorance, she said. A promise to honor the memory of the young woman who was silenced, whose light they tried to extinguish. As her words washed over me, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders, a sense of purpose filling the void within me. I understood now. The horror I had witnessed, the pain I had endured, it wasn't for nothing. It was a lesson, A test, a crucible from which I would emerge stronger, more determined than ever before. "I promise," I whispered, my voice trembling with emotion. The old woman smiled, her form beginning to fade as the light around her intensified. "Go now, child," she said, her voice distant but filled with love. "Your time here is done. But know that you are never truly alone. The echoes of your past lives will always be with you, guiding you, strengthening you, and I will be waiting for you when your journey is finally done." The light enveloped me, blinding me, and then I was back. I woke up gasping for air, my body drenched in sweat. The therapist's office, once a strange and unfamiliar place, now seemed like a sanctuary, a haven from the horrors I had witnessed in the depths of my past life. The scent of lavender and bergamot, subtle but reassuring, permeated the air, a stark contrast to the acrid smell of smoke that still lingered in my nostrils. My therapist, her face etched with concern, helped me sit up, gently guiding me back to the present moment. Her voice, calm and soothing, was a lifeline, pulling me back from the abyss of another time, another life. It took me a while to speak, to articulate the jumble of emotions that swirled within me. The terror, the confusion, the overwhelming grief of a life cut short, a soul unjustly condemned. "It was real," I whispered, my voice hoarse, barely a murmur in the quiet room. "It was all so real." The therapist nodded, her gaze steady and reassuring. "I know," she said softly, "and it's okay to feel everything you're feeling right now. Give yourself time to process, to heal." The days that followed my past life regression were a blur of emotions. The horrifying memories of my past life haunted my waking hours, seeping into my dreams, a constant reminder of the darkness that humanity was capable of. I found myself questioning everything I thought I knew about myself, about the world, about the nature of good and evil. But amidst the fear and confusion, a spark of something else began to flicker within me. A newfound determination, a sense of purpose that had been absent before. The old woman's words echoed in my mind, her promise, her plea to use my experiences to make a difference in the world. I realized that my past life regression wasn't just a journey into the depths of my own soul, but a call to action. It was a reminder that the darkness I had witnessed wasn't confined to the past. It was present in the world around me, in the subtle prejudices, the casual cruelties, the fear and ignorance that still plagued humanity. I began to see the world through different eyes, more attuned to the suffering of others, more sensitive to the injustices that often went unnoticed. The memory of the young woman who was condemned for her knowledge and compassion fueled my desire to make a difference. I immersed myself in my work as a medium, using my gift to connect with those who had passed on, to offer comfort to those left behind, to bridge the gap between the living and the dead. And in doing so, I found a sense of peace, a way to honor the memory of my past self and to fulfill the promise I had made. The past life regression had been a harrowing experience, but it had also been a transformative one. It had shattered my illusions, forced me to confront the darkness that resided within myself and within the world around me. But it had also shown me the power of resilience, the importance of compassion, and the enduring strength of the human spirit. Have you ever felt drawn to a particular time period or culture? Maybe you have an unexplainable fear. These could be echoes from your past lives. Past life regression can be a powerful tool. It can help us understand ourselves on a deeper level. Share your thoughts on past life experiences in the comments below. Have you ever had a past life regression? Would you ever consider it? Let's continue this conversation. And if you're interested in exploring more about past lives, spirituality, and the power of the spirit world, be sure to check out my other videos on my channel. Remember, we are all on a journey of self-discovery. The past can be a guide, helping us to create a brighter future.